Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about yarrow. So I'm just giving you quick overviews on the herbs that I grow, but I highly suggest that you go look up each individual herb because all of these herbs have so much more benefits to them than what I am sharing with you. I'm mostly just trying to give you a brief overview to encourage you to look into the herbs and also to just share some testimonials with you and explain why I grow them. So the yarrow, to me, it's just a very beautiful plant, and it can get quite tall. It's not even that tall yet. It's only just started blooming, and I wanted to get this video done today because tomorrow I plan on coming out here and cutting a lot of this back because I'm going to start dehydrating the flowers and the leaves for use in teas and tinctures and soaps and all kinds of stuff. Yarrow is antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and astringent. It is used both internally and externally, typically as a tea internally and externally as a wash or a poultice. And one of the really interesting things about the yarrow, and there's other herbs like this, but I always forget which ones, and I forget there's even such thing until I read about it again, is amphoteric, which means it'll move to the area in the body where it is needed most, which is very cool. So if you're taking it internally, that's what it's going to do. Some of the things that it helps with is the relief and healing of infections, colds, flus, cramps, allergies, rashes, burns, cuts, scrapes, bruises, and even sprains. And again, that's just the short list. Now I am going to take you up front and show you my other yarrow plant. I have two right now. I used to have a lot more, but as the more herbs I get, and the more I have to narrow down what I have. And besides, I can get more than what I need off of just one of these plants. But I like to keep two. I always like to have at least one back here of each herb and one out front. So let me take you out there and show you that. All right, here is my yarrow out front. This is my West Side Herb Garden that I'm still putting off showing you in its entirety. I will eventually, I promise. One of the things I did forget to say about this, really important, and probably one of its biggest known features for the yarrow, is its styptic properties, which means it is excellent for stopping bleeding both internally and externally. Now, let me share with you a couple of testimonials of how I have used it so far. Now, originally I started growing the yarrow because I'd read about many of its medicinal benefits, and I knew I just had to have it, and I was grateful that I did. Now, when I had my old dog Angel, and her eyesight was getting bad, and she was a little chihuahua, so she kind of had the buggy eyes, and she on several different occasions managed to run into things and scrape her eyes and then get bad. It happened to both eyes at different times, and get bad infections. And one of the things that worked just wonderfully to heal her infections quickly was when I made her a yarrow tea, at the time using just the leaves, these beautiful feathery leaves. And I just would put several drops of those in her eyes several times a day. And just actually within a day, her eye, like that one real bad infection she had, her eye started feeling a lot better. She wasn't whimpering and crying so much, and then within a couple of days, it was totally healed up. So this is really just quite an amazing plant. And then another testimony I have is that I had a friend who had burned her finger really bad. And she'd put it out on Facebook asking people for suggestions on how to stop the burning. And people were throwing out all kinds of crazy ideas that I never even heard of, such as yellow mustard. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but to me it just sounded funny. But maybe it works for some people, but it absolutely did not work for her. And I told her, I said, come on over, I've got some yarrow, I think I can help you out. And so what I did was, she came right over, and what I did was I took some of the leaves, and instead of chewing them up, since I wasn't sure how she would feel about that, I used my mortar and pestle and mashed them with that, and then mixed it with a little aloe vera from one of my plants, and then you know, I put it on right on the burn as a poultice, and what she said was that as soon as I got it on there, the burning had stopped. I mean, she was in a lot of pain, and the pain never came back. All right, well, I got interrupted again. That's the bad thing about shooting videos out of my herbs out front. It seems like there's always somebody that wants to stop and talk, or people walking by talking very loudly. Anyway, so I'm not really sure where I left off. However, I wanted to share that she said that the burn healed up immediately. I mean, it never started burning again. The pain was gone instantly, and within a day, 2, 3 tops, I mean, there wasn't even a mark left. So I was really impressed by that. I've never had a chance to use it for anything like that myself, but it was I loved that story, that I was able to help her. And I sent her home, because I had a lot more yarrow growing, so I sent her home with several stalks of these, and then as soon as I was able to get starts the next year, I gave her some starts so she could grow it in her own garden, and she was thrilled. Anyway, so I highly recommend you look into growing yarrow. Now, I started my yarrow from seed, and I got my seed from Baker Creek. However, ever since I've been growing it, I've seen it growing wild right along our coastline. Went to the beach a couple of times. I'm like, oh, I know what that plant is. It's yarrow I have in my garden. And so you may be able to find it growing wild, but it was pretty easy to start from seed, and then it also readily self-seeds, and it will spread as well. But it's not as invasive as things like peppermint, and it doesn't reseed quite so badly as the feverfew, which just goes everywhere. And yes, this is the feverfew, and I will talk about that in another video in the near future. Oh yes, and one more thing, I have also used the yarrow leaves for, even though I've never used it on burns for myself, I've used it for other things, you know, where, you know, sometimes I'll mix it with plantain and aloe. Sometimes I've used it by itself. Usually I just masticate it by chewing on it and put it on some cuts and some splits. You know, when you're a gardener, you get splits in your heels and splits in your fingers, and it just happens, and I found it to be quite helpful. I have a list in the description box of all the herb books that I currently own and use, so you can check into those. And another thing that I do when I'm looking into herbs is I look online, and it's really simple. I know some people don't always know how to search, and so all you have to do is put in the name of the herb you want to look up, and then follow it with the words health benefits or medicinal benefits, or even both. And you will find a lot of great web pages like Dr. Josh Axe and Wellness Mama that will give you a lot more detailed list of all the many uses of these herbs. And don't stop there. Don't stop at one page or one book. Check them all out, because you will find different things everywhere you go. Just like the yarrow, it's rare that I find all the medicinal benefits to it in just one place. Like one book might only list a couple of things. Another book might list a few more things, but not the couple things listed in the other one. So just keep looking and keep researching. And you will find that every single herb, like I bought the feverfew mostly for its analgesic properties, but it's more than that. So, oh yes, and one more thing about the yarrow is it also is good for repelling mosquitoes. So just picking some yarrow flowers and having them near you if you're out camping or whatever, they'll help keep the mosquitoes away. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.